Well, let's continue doing that as we continue to honor the fallen leader. We now speak to ANC's head of organizing, Nomvula Mokonyane, who joins us now for this conversation. Nomvula Mokonyane, thank you so much. I really appreciate this opportunity. Just give me a sense of who we have lost in losing Jackson Mthembu and what the loss means for you personally, but also for the ANC and the country.
Thank you very much for hosting me. And once more, condolences to Comrade Jackson's immediate family, his extended family, the African National Congress and the Mass Democratic Movement, and the people of South Africa. Comrade Jackson was a father. It's quite difficult and strange to talk in the past tense and say was a father, was a brother, was an uncle, and we shared many life experiences, both in the upbringing as well as in our life in the African National Congress and before the unbanning during the times of the United Democratic Front. He was the organizer of the Eastern Transvaal when I was the organizer here in the Southern Transvaal, but also organizing women under the Federation of Transvaal Women. We worked also with Comrade Jackson in the detainees support group that was headed by Comrade Audrey Coleman. He came and worked here at Dara House with all of us, downtown Johannesburg. Somebody who became a friend, a family friend, someone that even with our own differences and the dynamics in the ANC, one would still find Jackson who would be very, very calm, but very assertive, respecting diverse views, and of importance, very loyal to his deployment, very committed to the work that he was doing, and who always made sure that he carries along those that are working together with him. That is Jackson for you. We went to Namibia when SWAPO contested the elections. We traveled to Namibia. We supported SWAPO, the taxi industry that time when it was SAPTA, the blue taxis, actually was a fleet, and Comrade Jackson was the leader of the Support SWAPO campaign. And upon arrival in Namibia, once more, Comrade Jackson was like he has just arrived home. And he really helped us to understand the terrain that we were working under. And as we were just ordinary organizers of the United Democratic Front, we also had our own personal relationships, myself, him, Comrade Brian Hlongwa, Comrade Daphne Mashilenkosi, Comrade Dipuo Peters became very close to one another. And that made us to be much more closer, irrespective of our own differences.
So the period you described, ma'am, it covers, a number of decades, and some of the situations were obviously difficult situations in the days of the struggle against apartheid. I'm just wondering about his personality. A lot of people are reflecting on his sense of humor, that even in tough times, he found a way to laugh, and my goodness, was his laughter infectious. Has he always been like that? And what was your understanding of his sense of humor? Was it a coping mechanism? Was it a way to make you understand that, it's not the end? We can still see through whatever difficulties we are facing.
It was an embracing laughter, making everybody to laugh, irrespective of the tension that exists. And he would always crack a joke, and in some instances be the first to laugh before he cracks his jokes. And that's Jackson for you. He would also, we were talking with Comrade DSG, Jesse Duarte, who was then the secretary of the Federation of Transvaal Women, that Jackson will just rush and pull your face and say, Neta Sunki, and he will force himself and kiss you. I was actually saying, if there's one comrade who has kissed all of us, it's Comrade Jackson. And he will do it and walk away. But when there is work to be done, you can count on Jackson.
Absolutely.
And I think that is one thing that we must all take in the book called Jackson Mthembu.
I'm glad also, as a final question, Ma'am Nomvula Mokonyane, I'm glad that I'm talking to you, as someone that, I mean, you've said it a couple of times, that politically, as politics evolves, you've had your differences with Jackson Mthembu. In my introduction, I said, even when he disagreed, even with some of us as journalists, there was no othering of the person. There was no questioning of your patriotism, of your sense of loyalty to this country. You simply disagreed, and he would disagree with you vigorously. Talk to me about that particular dynamic, the point at which you were no longer, your views no longer aligned politically. What was he like as an opponent, in inverted commas, in terms of the political views? Did he continue to be someone who was personable, even in disagreement?
Correct to state it that way, that it's in inverted commas. Differences of views from the internal dynamics in the ANC never made anyone to become an enemy of Comrade Jackson. I personally, with the last national conference, were on different sides. And Comrade Jackson made sure that his views and his utterances will not actually destroy a relationship that he has invested on over years. And that was quite interesting, even going into the Nasrec conference, until even when the results were announced, he would come back and say, Vulakim Ganwam, I sinishaile this time. And he would say, got the campaign who was hot. Jackson would respect a relationship, and out of that, I think he was acceptable across factions, and he could easily outgrow factional tendencies, and that's why everybody will claim a piece of Jackson, irrespective of differences. I, for one of the things that I find difficult to do is to disassociate myself from Jackson. We have common experiences. We're both Catholics. We grew up in the movement. We've had challenges of substance abuse affecting our own children. We've worked in the same subcommittee. He can also be a leader who can push you whilst laughing, and he will do his job. I'm sure you remember when he would even have a slip of a tongue and talk about something when he wanted to talk about, what was it? I don't want to talk about it, but we know the thing that he raised when he was briefing the media about the interventions, and he would laugh and laugh and laugh. Yeah. He loved his Brentwood. He loved his Brentwood trousers and the double sledge jacket and the button-down shirt. That's Jackson for you.
Thank you so much for the generosity and sharing your memories of the late Jackson Mthembu there. That's the ANC's Nomvula Mokonyane reflecting on the life of Jackson Mthembu. And she mentioned